Hey, y'all.
What's going on, everybody?
I am Karyn.
And I'm Mingo.
And we are the Mingo and Karyn Show. And just to let you know that we have been married now. Well, we just celebrated 27 years.
27 years this past week.
Yes, so we're really excited about that. We have 4 adult children.
Yep.
And we started this channel because we felt like there was like a need to talk to people about, how we got to this point in our relationship. How did we make it this far? So many people ask us all the time.
They ask us, we kind of look at us as a person that fills in the blank. We kind of fill in the blanks of 27 years sounds good, but it's a lot of things that happened and took place in those 27 years. Peaks and valleys. That's just the best way to put it.
Absolutely. So we decided to do this channel. We started our podcast actually talking about things about our relationship and how we made it through. And then we have like our book coming out because we just feel like it's important to tell people things that no one ever told us while you're married. Like, how did we get to this place? So we really want to take you with us on our journey and teach you things that we've learned, and hopefully we can be a help to you and just offer you advice on things that we've learned over the years in just being in a relationship. But today what we want to talk about is kind of how to show up for yourself. And to give a little history about this, we were going to start this channel and do how to show up for yourself a little bit over 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, about 3 weeks ago.
So we did a video, right?
Yeah.
And as we're talking, I realized I hadn't shown up for myself. So I'm like going through the motions. And one thing you'll learn about us is we're not going to talk about things that we haven't experienced or haven't been through ourselves.
Exactly.
So to me, in me talking about showing up for myself when in my current state, it was more of a topic than it was that I was living it. I felt it was important to step back. And until I could show up for myself, I needed to not release that first podcast.
And piggybacking on what Karyn is talking about, when you could feel the energy, you know yourself.
Absolutely.
And then you really get a chance to sit back and look at yourself and you say, hey, you know what? Is that how I want to represent myself in front of other people?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're going to be who you are. Mm-hmm. And you would hope that people like who you are.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you got to be confident enough to know that, well, if this person doesn't care for me, I'm putting my best foot forward. And it might mean that this is just maybe not a relationship I should be in. So that's why we kind of get behind the scenes. We go behind the curtain. Yeah. And we tell people, hey, it's one thing to say, we've been here, we've done that, and I show up for myself. But then some days, your best, not your best representative is showing up for yourself.
Absolutely.
And it takes a very powerful position to say, nah, that's not me. Mm-hmm. That's not me. I ain't talking about putting on airs. Yep. I'm not talking about trying to impress folks. I'm talking about what you genuinely feel like and what you're communicating. Because people read through things that are not authentic very easily. Absolutely. Especially if you proclaim to be an authentic person.
Absolutely. And I think that's what happened is that I realized, okay, the topic of showing up for myself was one thing. The act of showing up for myself was totally different. Yeah, and not that I haven't always shown up for myself. So let me be really clear. Yeah. But at the time, the direction that I wanted my life to head in, I had just begun that journey. Yeah. So I knew how to show up for myself, being your wife, being their mom, being the grandmother I am, being the auntie, being a daughter, being all these things. But I had just begun the journey of showing up for myself. And so when we finished, and like you said, the energy I know for me was off because it's like, it made me then wonder more about what does that mean strictly for Karyn by herself?
But you remember we used to talk about, especially when the kids were younger, and we used to talk about time management. Yes. And we never thought about time management for your life because, we had 3 little ones. Well, we had 4 little ones. Yes. And you would take the time, I'm getting the boys dressed, you getting our daughter's hair done, but we still have to be at this certain destination at a certain time. And we found out every time you were running out of time for yourself to put on your makeup, to do your hair, to put on your clothes. So now you're rushing, then you're trying to calm down when you get in the car. Not that you're upset, but it's just adrenaline.
Yeah, and because I think I was so committed to, investing into my children, and you would be on me about it like, babe, they're good. Just, and it's like, what I gotta, Carrington's hair has to be this way, or, I have to iron their little outfits and they need to be, I gotta make sure their little face is not ashy, just all those things. So I was spending, it's not that it wasn't important, but I didn't allot enough time for myself. And so in that, I think there was a level of neglect almost of not even showing up for myself. And here I am now.
Yeah, yeah.
And now I don't have to get my kids dressed and I don't have to do, all these things. And I'm realizing that I don't have any reason, any excuse, anything in my way, any obstacle, nothing in my way that stops me from showing up for myself. And it is foreign to me. Yeah. And so having to learn that, and so, having to learn what that means, what it means is that I may not wake up every day and do the same thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
But I've got to at least wake up. And I'm not talking about getting up out of the bed, waking up. Yeah. It's like a conscious effort and being of thinking, okay, Karyn, what does today look like for you? Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's what showing up for myself means to me, is that I prioritize me every single day. You have been telling me this our entire marriage. You know how you wanted me to, babe, why don't you do this? I got this. And I'm like, no, I got it. I want to do it, So showing up for myself now for me means, and you tell me in the mornings when I get up and I'm working out, yay me. But you'll tell me, and I've gone through this journey, that's going to be a whole other podcast, y'all, to talk about how long it is taking me to show up for myself in this way. But showing up for myself now means that even though we are Mingo and Karyn, and you've never asked me to not be myself, but it's now me saying, Karyn, it's just you, girl. Show up.
But it's a foreign, you have to know your own voice.
Yeah, that's true.
You think about it. If you're used to taking care of other people, you've never heard your own voice say, hey, Karyn, you need to do this for yourself.
Oh, that's good.
So you got to take a few minutes. Give yourself some grace. Yeah. Give yourself some time. You spent, let's just use our marriage. You spent 27 years being a great caregiver, being a great cheerleader, being a great example of what it is to love unconditionally.
Yes.
So now, when you say, hey, I'm going to do Karyn before I do everybody else.
Woo!
In your mind, and I ain't speaking for you, but that's kind of like, ooh, I'm being selfish.
Yeah.
I'm being selfish because now, how can I do this for me? How can I buy this for myself? How can I take this trip? And then you start going down a rabbit hole of now you're being selfish. Now you're being, you want things your way. That's not what it is. Yeah. You've put in enough work to say, hey, I don't want to do nothing today. Or you may say, hey, I want to work out today. You may say, I want to go eat this today. You might want to say, hey, for these 2 weeks, I'm going to just juice. You don't have to clear it with nobody but Karyn.
Absolutely.
But if you don't know your voice, if you don't know, then say, hey, girl, this is okay. I go through the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Just showing up, we show up as a couple all the time.
All the time.
And I didn't realize the level of neglect that I allowed to myself. It has nothing to do with physical appearance. I'm talking about especially a person like myself. I talk to myself a lot. Not out loud, though.
but you just think a lot.
Yeah, so I'm thinking a lot. And it's like, man, should I be thinking this? Should I be thinking that? Should I do this or should I do that? And when you're going through this process of elimination in your life, it's like, nah, I don't want to do that because I'm responsible for other people.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So now, here it is, I put myself on the back burner again.
Yeah.
But with us being official empty nesters,
the
last one finishing college next month.
Amazing.
You have to say, man, I'm glad we at least tried this a little bit over the years.
Yeah.
Because this would be overwhelming if we were just embarking on this journey week one after 27 years.
Wow.
And for me, I'm ready to enjoy this life. I'm ready to see what's out there beyond crisis management.
Wow.
I'm ready to see.
We're always fixing.
I'm ready to see what's out there beyond paying bills.
Yeah.
I'm ready to see what's out there beyond what I can see. I want to see the things I see when I close my eyes.
Tell me what those are, though.
Like, I want to wake up in a Caribbean country and be in there long enough to say I experienced it.
Not the Caribbean.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, we've been to Jamaica before. Loved it. Beautiful. It just seemed like it wasn't enough time.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. It just kind of made me think of something that I don't even think we absorbed the moment when we were there. I don't even think. We had a good time.
Oh yeah,
but I don't know, I don't know that we enjoyed ourselves, right? Yeah. But I don't know that we fully enjoyed ourselves because we weren't fully engaged in things that we want to do. We were just there, and I think with the consciousness of where we are now with you and you understanding showing up for yourself, me understanding showing up for myself is now why that experience will be different. Yeah. And I think that for me, I lost myself, I think, and I love let me say this. My son knows, our oldest knows he changed my life. Because, child, I shouldn't have been nobody's mama, shouldn't have been nobody's wife back then. Because I had an attitude, a bad attitude, and a mouth on me. So having him change my life, it made me want to be better. I think, though, because of the love that I have for, having my children, I think that became my whole focus. And so I lost myself and I've told you this before, but and more recently when I said child, I've been saying it forever. I ain't said it forever. But I just told you this more recently as we've been going through this, that I feel like my best age was 19. And of course, that's when we met.
That's an amazing time right there.
So I feel like my fearless. 48... Fearless. Listen, I just started wearing red lipstick in the last year and a half, 2 years. If I had been my older self, I'd have had the green lipstick, the blue. My hair would have been different colors.
Gold was popping in.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I did have gold lipstick and eyeliner, but that's the 90s. But I think that now I feel like my 48-year-old self gets to know my 19-year. We're the same person, and I feel like I was so far removed.
Well, let's explore that a little bit. I was just going to ask you, what would your 48-year-old self tell your 19-year-old self if you only had 3 minutes to spend with her?
Oh, my God. I would have told myself to never let people tell me that I couldn't do, be, and have everything that I wanted. Okay. I would have told my 19-year-old self to, just because I became a mom early, at an early age of 21, to never stop dreaming for me. I would have told my 19-year-old self, girl, you keep being bad, you keep being fearless, you keep being fly.
Yeah.
I would have told her that. I would have told her to never, to all of the noise of what you needed to do, because now you're a mama and a wife and now you're this and responsibility. I could have still done everything that I wanted to do, be myself, and still accomplish those same things.
And see, that's why I'm in love with you.
Oh,
that's why I fell in love with you. You are that 19-year-old.
Oh,
it's there. Yeah, did it have a cocoon around it?
Yeah.
But that's based on life. Mm-hmm. Who doesn't learn how to protect themselves?
That's true.
I ain't talking about, we're 27 married-wise, but you was a whole person before you ever met me.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So with that being said, if I had to tell my same 19-year-old self, I would tell him, you're probably the first of most of the things you're going to experience in your life.
Wow.
So you can't get advice from the people you come from. You got to trust your instincts. Don't second guess yourself. And because everybody doesn't agree, don't mean you wrong.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree with, I totally
That's
agree.
what because I was a very person, I knew what I wanted.
You did.
Even down to you. I saw you before you saw me, even though you approached me before I approached you.
Yeah.
It was just meant to happen. But I had to be open enough to say, because I didn't come from a family that did a lot of affection. I remember the first time I met your family and the whole family hugged me. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay.
What is this?
It's moving too fast. Hold on, pineapples. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm thinking.
Right.
But I learned to understand that your family was showing me, give people their flowers while they're here. Go ahead and hug a person. What does it take to hug a person?
Yeah, for sure.
What does it take to tell somebody you love them? So, and you touched on a good point when you was talking about when you lost yourself. I know you said over the years, you always say, man, it is important to revisit your past so you can make sure your future is good.
Absolutely.
Resolve it. Talk about it. Do what you got to do about it. It doesn't have to happen quickly. It can take time. It's based on you. So when you're thinking about when you lost yourself, I think when you going on the journey of showing up for yourself, you need to go back and figure out when you lost yourself. And I know I lost myself at not 19. I say I lost myself 21-ish.
Yeah.
About 21, because I lived a life or a behavior that allowed me not to live life so, just wake up and do what I want to do.
Yeah.
We had responsibilities. We had a child. It's just a whole different ball game. But that doesn't mean I couldn't have been my most powerful 19-year-old self. Like now, I feel like I'm 19. I feel like, I ain't gonna lie, I go up and down the steps sometime. I roll out the bed, my back hurt, my knees hurt. You know, you wake, you hear ringing in your ears, and you like, what's that about? You know what I'm saying? I'm in that place now.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? I'm in that place where, you know, you chew too hard, your whole side of your face hurting. You know, that's where I am right now. But you know what? Y'all laugh with me, not at me. Don't laugh too hard. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I needed to understand that not selfishly, so I don't want this to come out wrong.
Well, just say it. Because we keep it real, we
gotta keep it real. You have to be, when I say you, I'm talking about me.
Okay.
You have to be the most important person first.
Absolutely.
You have to be.
I agree.
I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how many bills you eat. Bills you eat.
Please don't eat your bills.
Not bills you eat. I'm sorry. No, I don't care how many bills you have. If you're not watching what you eat, what you're reading, what you're thinking,
you're absorbing,
who you're
around, absolutely.
You have to make sure you are solid. Because if you bring 100% to the table, and then you bring 100% to the table, boy, that's more powerful. That's 200%.
Yeah.
So if we thriving like some cylinders, you bumping, I'm bumping. When we come together,
it's over.
Ain't nothing can stop us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, I remember saying, I just knew, I don't know how, I knew instinctively when we were younger that if we got on the same page, life was going to be
used to say phenomenal. That all the time.
All we had to do, because we weren't always in the same place. You're not going to always be in the same place at the same time. But I think what's important to know is that if I'm at a place where something changes, I can remember the ages where I changed. I can remember, you know, at 26 and 29, I remember at 29 telling you something is changing. Like certain things I used to like, I didn't like anymore. It's important to let that person know, hey, you know, the thing that I used to do or the thing I used to like, I'm changing that, right? And so I think that when you know, even in understanding that process, a part of you is shedding.
Yeah.
A part of what was old is now no longer
like
existing.
The caterpillar becomes a butterfly.
Absolutely.
Sort of type thing.
Yes. Like really. And you go through those things. And I think maybe what I'm realizing and having this conversation is maybe that some of that losing yourself isn't always bad. Because maybe some of the things that you did when you were young, you didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Maybe that part of losing yourself is actually the good part.
Yeah.
Because you got to lose old things so you can make room for those new things.
Well, here's a hidden gem in being married a long time. People say, well, how did y'all do it? One piece of advice that I would share is that, you know how Karyn just said, you know, she knows the exact ages you change.
Yes.
That doesn't mean I'm going to change at the same time.
Absolutely.
Right? But the key to it is you have to both still be walking in the same direction.
Absolutely.
See, you can't go north and I go south. We both got to be going north.
Parallel paths.
We can't allow our hands to let go.
Yes.
You might be ahead of me, but I can't let your hand go.
Yep.
I might be ahead of you. Can't let your hand go. You have to be on the same page. We were created as individuals. We came to this life as individuals.
Yeah, but we came together.
But it's a beautiful thing that you can meet and be with someone that makes you feel like, hey, I'm really inspired by what she's doing. Let me think about it. Shoot, let me go down here and exercise.
Right.
Hey, let me pull back on what I'm eating.
Yeah.
Let me change my thought process. Let me look at this type of show, which is maybe a documentary or maybe something that's informational versus watching a bunch of fictional shows. Don't mean none of it is wrong. I'm just saying, just allow that little bitty piece of space for some more information to come in. Because you don't have to have like this big open door. You just have to have a little bitty amount of space, because once the information get in, it's going to do its job.
Absolutely.
Then you'll find yourself saying, hey, you remember that documentary you showed me? I just found one. You want to see it?
Yeah.
And of course, you probably going to want to see it because your thing is documentaries.
Yes.
And matter of fact, that just happened to us last week. I said, like, look at this documentary I found. You're like, I absolutely want to watch it. And we both was amazed by it. But if I never would have been open to years ago of informational type of media, it wouldn't have opened up room for this here today. Yeah. So I think it's really, really important to identify when you lost yourself. And that's not always easy to do, but you can do it. You can have to do it.
You can absolutely do it. I think what's important too is once you can identify with when you lost yourself, and that realization comes, that revelation comes, and you like, oh my goodness, what? Because I mean, it literally happened to me. It's like, I know that I'm here and I'm existing, right?
Yeah.
But existing is not showing up. It is merely existing.
Yeah. And
so how 3 weeks ago after we did that first video, and I was just like, that ain't it, Chief. No. That's when I made a conscious effort to figure out how can I take one step.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Towards showing up for myself, something I hadn't done in forever. Like, what would I have done when I was showing up for me?
So the safe question to ask is, how do you show up for yourself? Because we've talked about you need to do it. We've talked about figuring out when you lost it. So how do you put that together to help other people understand, how do I show up for myself? So
for me, what was important is, one thing I did was I went out and bought a journal.
Yeah.
I used to love to write.
Okay.
And I decided, because I feel like I wasn't, another topic for a podcast, okay? I feel like I wasn't raised to love myself.
Okay.
Another podcast for another time. And so deciding, like, loving yourself is intentional. There was no intent behind how I was functioning as me.
Yeah.
On the inside. So a journal is one of those things where the things where I was able to express to me what that day was going to look like just for me.
You know, you did something powerful in talking about journaling. I'm not a journal type person, but you know how you can get little bitty things from people and you can apply them to yourself, and it may or may not work. When you started your journal, and I hope you don't mind me sharing, just the very first thing.
Share it, child.
Don't
tell all my business.
Karyn said that I give myself an adjective every morning. She writes that down. Like, she might say, good morning, beautiful. So I started doing that. I was like, hello, Mr. Amazing. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? If I don't believe it, who gonna believe it?
For sure.
That's Monday. Tuesday is like, oh, you set up, boy. What you gonna do? What you got for the day?
Yeah.
That's who I am. And people might think it's funny. I've heard guys in the gym, because me and my older son been going to the gym. I'm not a noise maker in the gym. I can just go through my stuff, go through my routines and not have to be very vocal. I see some of them big buff dudes and it's like, whoa, I might want to head for the door, because but that's the way he expresses himself.
Right.
So that's his Mr. Amazing adjective.
Wow.
Because it takes something beyond his physical strength to lift them weights. I'm looking at him lift.
Yeah.
So that's what he's doing at that time. So what I learned from him was that level of discipline that he's showing in that gym. He doesn't care about what anybody thinks about him dropping the weights, him having to go deep and grab that strength that we don't possess because we ain't lifting the same weights he lifts. Our arms don't look like his.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, how do you show up for yourself if you don't know how you can get a little bit from everybody? So in your daily routine, the adjective thing worked for me.
Oh, yeah. And for me, I think what I love is, like, I tell myself, I'm like, good morning, brilliant. It's beyond, like, just my looks. I'll tell myself, good morning, powerful one.
Yeah.
Or it's so many things that I have found that I can say that uplift me and that really affirm me. Yeah. And I get to do that for myself. So when I show up first thing in the morning for myself, then it sets the foundation for me to show up for myself the rest of the day, the rest of the week, the rest of the month. And then eventually it's going to become year after year after year until it's the rest of my life.
It's like learned behavior. We had a conversation about this a few days ago when we were talking about, as a parent, you're telling your kid, you need to do this, you need to do that. This is right. This is wrong. You don't touch this. You can't touch that. But what the kid pays attention to beyond anything that you say to them at that time is what they see you do.
Yep.
So it becomes a learned behavior. It helps form whatever type of person they're going to be. It helps form how they're going to react in relationships. It also forms how they're going to react in tumultuous times.
Yeah.
It's going to when situations happen quickly, can they make a decision quickly? They're going to draw to what they saw you do. So that's the same thing with showing up for yourself. You speaking those adjectives and writing in that journal and working out twice a day and juicing and doing all these things. Yeah, the first 30 days or so is very foreign because when you thought about your life, you didn't think you was going to be in a place of your life where you needed that.
I didn't.
And you don't realize you need that till you need that. So when you sat down here 3 weeks ago and you talking in this mic and you like, I'm this, I got some information going, but no, you said to us, y'all, I know we recorded, y'all give me 30 days. 30 days ago, you wasn't writing in no journal. 30 days ago, you wasn't doing 2 a days. 30 days ago, you were not juicing. 30 days ago, you were not showing up for yourself. I was not showing up for myself. Now that we're showing up for ourselves, the tools are already there because your experiences give you the wisdom, the knowledge, the experience. The hardest thing or the hardest person to train in the world is yourself.
Man,
because you can tell yourself no.
Yeah.
You can tell yourself yes. And most of the time, I can't speak for everybody else. I am not a liar by nature. But when I tell myself no, I've lied to myself about something. I've moved the goalpost because I don't want to show up for myself.
Wow.
So now I say, yeah, I stayed up to 4 o'clock in the morning looking at movies. But guess what, baby? The gym, 7:30. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So now I'm saying, I think the part I'm so excited about for us and for y'all, it's after you learn how to show up for yourself and you see the results.
It's the most amazing feeling I think I've had in a really long time. I mean, to the point it's opened up things that I had forgotten about, like wanting to travel more. I mean, we've always wanted to travel, but not the way my mind thinks now. Now, this is a huge world out here.
Yeah.
We're going to explore it. I want to have different experiences with my husband beyond... I want to have different experiences with my husband beyond, just we love to go to restaurants and things like that. That's like really cool. But I want to try things I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
And what does that look like? Yeah. I wouldn't have even explored that. I used to be a pretty fearless person when I was younger. I'm like, oh, if it's out there, I'm doing it.
It's like seeing the things you imagine.
Yeah.
People don't believe that you have visions for a reason.
Yeah.
You have dreams for a reason. Why can't you wake up that next morning and actively work toward that? Man,
this made me think of something. I'll never forget. This was, it was I'll tell you how long ago this was. When Trinidad James, what's the song? All Go Everything.
Yeah.
And my cousin actually was living in New York. She was in grad school there. And I'll never forget, I still had a perm back then. I still, or relaxer. I still had short hair. And she walked in and she had this big, beautiful, natural hair. And I said to her, that's my dream hair. I got it. It's here. I got Ashley's hair now. Okay, now she wearing her stuff straight, but that's another conversation for another day. But it's because I was like, oh my God, her hair is amazing.
Yeah.
And so I wanted amazingly big hair.
But you was showing up for yourself. It's like superheroes when you watch those movies. A lot of them don't understand how to use their superpowers in the beginning.
Kind of like Neo in Matrix.
Yeah. Okay. He didn't first that's a whole nother podcast because he didn't even want it. So that's a little bit different.
Okay.
So
I got it.
You got the powers. You got the tools. Let's use your hair as an example.
Okay.
You've always had beautiful hair.
Thanks, babe.
Always. Anybody who knows you know that you've always had amazing hair. But the relaxed hair allowed you to have control. Because it was straight, it was manageable. You cut it a certain way, you curl it a certain way, you brush it, you comb it a certain way. And sure enough, and then you put a little something on it, that whole say, I know some stuff. Put a little something on it and hold it. That hairdo go do his job. But now when you making that natural move,
Lord,
you got to be okay with yourself.
Ooh, the big
Because we were out yesterday and that wind was blowing so hard and my wife had was doing like this. She was like, oh my gosh, my hair just moving.
I couldn't even see.
But it didn't change who you are.
Yeah.
You knew who you were. So you basically like, man, okay, they're trying to bad hair at me. I got something for it today. Let me braid it on this side so that wind don't get me today.
Yep, it only got me on that side.
So I'm just saying, you already had the superpowers. You just hadn't learned how to use them yet.
That's good.
So now, when you're showing up for yourself, so we've told you what it means. You know, we told you how to go back and figure out when you lost it.
Yeah.
Because you already had it, right? Then we showed you how to show up for yourself.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is do it. You gotta do it.
Because
if you keep researching and you keep procrastinating and you keep talking about it, I remember anybody who knows us as a couple know that if Mingo and Karyn talk about it, we are going to do it. That's just who we are. We might fail epically, but boy, we're going to be like, boy, we sure failed that.
What we learned from this failure.
But it don't matter. And then we go try again.
Yep.
That's who we are.
Yeah.
Everybody is not like that. Some people are so fearful of failure, not because they fail themselves, it's because of what other people are going to say.
This is true.
But if you go back, even people who are fearful, they are successful at something in their life. So they need to figure out, what did they tap into? Say you shy, but you get an amazing job being an accountant at a big firm. Even though you shy, your skill set did the work for you. You just had to make it through the interview.
Wow.
Right? Whatever superpower you use to get that, you can do that on the smallest thing in your life. Whether you wanted big natural hair, whether I want these amazing six-pack, which I don't have yet, but we working on that.
You getting it, boo.
Another podcast. You know what I'm saying? But I'm showing up for myself, and I ain't gonna lie, this week was trash.
Yeah.
Because between allergies and pollen, it wasn't happening this week. You know what I'm saying?
Both were loved,
but I'm showing up in the morning, and we do a lot of comic relief because we laugh all the time. We love on one another. We talk to one another. And, oh man, I just had a revelation. If you're in a relationship, you should not become jealous or envious of seeing somebody else show up and you hadn't figured out why you haven't.
You've got to be, and I think, number one, for you showing up for yourself, be your own best cheerleader first. I think with me, I always, and Mingo always, you know, would say, babe, you look good and you this and you that. No matter how different I looked and no matter how dissatisfied I was with myself, you just never, you always encouraged me with my cheerleader and all of that.
Yeah. And likewise.
I think what's important though is that you show up for yourself. This is vital.
Can't say that enough.
This is vital because him showing up for me was not enough. I'm telling you, I know I am talking to someone. Hopefully it's a bunch of y'all, someone's out there. And this is why I have to look at you when I tell you this. No one is going to make you feel better about you if you don't feel better about you. What was important to me was for me to do one extra thing for me with 100% effort. Because I have a tendency to take on a whole bunch of stuff. I just be trying to do it all. And so then what I end up doing is if I'm doing 5 things, then I'm not giving 100% to all of the 5 things. I'm giving 20% to each.
But you also got to be unapologetic for showing up for yourself.
Absolutely.
Because if you feel guilty, keep working through it where it doesn't feel like guilt.
Absolutely.
It feels like a routine in your own life. You know, whatever your routine is, and that's the thing about it. We use the example of working out. We look at a lot of different videos to say, hey, okay, if you do this, it works these muscles. You do that, it works these muscles. But ultimately, this is what I want to look like when it's over with, right?
Yep.
So you have to decide at that point, okay, I can't just do his video or her video. I got to do a combination of both.
Absolutely.
And then I might do a combination of both and find out I don't like that exercise routine because
so you can
it's
switch.
not giving me the result.
Yep.
So you switch. That's showing up for yourself. That's your superpower. Your superpower is I get to change my mind.
Absolutely.
And then once I change my mind, but you can't change your mind and stop. You got to change your mind and do something about it. And then don't, like I said, you can lie to yourself. We don't have to call it lie. You can tell yourself a fib. Let's go with a Mr. Rogers type thing about it. You tell yourself, I don't need to do that. Yes, you do need to do that. Because it's something in you that makes you feel like I can do more. I can be more. There is no better time than to do what you need to do than in this second right here. Because I'm going to start on Monday. I'm going to do this weekend, but I'm going to start on Monday. then I found myself breaking that habit by saying, I'm going to start right now.
Yep.
Let me drop down to the floor and do 50 push-ups right now. That don't mean a whole hour workout, but that means changing that routine. So just to kind of bring everything to a whole, showing up for yourself is the most important thing you can do in your life. Because when I'm my best me, for me, I can be the best person I am to her, for her, and with her.
And I went and found a photo of myself, and it's on my phone. And it's myself that I want to be, because it's an old photo from when we were at our oldest son's second birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. But it was a photo of me, and it's on my phone because I have to remember her.
Yeah.
I am physically her.
And that may work for somebody. That old photo, that's your motivation. It doesn't have to be some person who's a celebrity right now. It could be
me.
What you used to be.
Absolutely.
And think about how amazing that is. You inspire to be the best you.
Yeah.
How amazing is that?
Yeah.
Your inspiration, your hero, you found a photo of yourself.
Yep.
You could have picked any picture in the world, any person in the world, and you chose yourself by default.
Yep.
Well, how beautiful is that?
Thank you, babe.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. So I just know that you can do this. I'm telling you.
You have to.
Mingo and I know that if we can do it, you can do it. I'm telling you. And so today, I implore you, I encourage you to show up. Showing up, listen, is nothing, no extraordinary feat.
Yeah.
Tell yourself right now that you are amazing, you are worthy, you are talented, you are powerful, you are a change maker, or whatever it is that you aspire to be. Tell yourself that you are that right now. Show up for yourself right now. What are you procrastinating for? What are you waiting for? The time is now. The moment is now. And you got this.
And guess what? Whether you do it right now or whether you're a Monday person, it's still going to feel the same.
The exact same.
It's going to feel the same. But then after you've done it for a week, you're going to say, you know what? Pat myself on the back. I'm ready for this next week. Your mind get a little bit stronger. You've done it for 30 days. Because even like on a weight loss journey, once you start losing the weight, the routine changes up.
Yep.
The things you have to do, the frequency. That's the beautiful part, that you showed up for yourself. So now you're looking in your front windshield and not your rearview mirror. You're not looking backwards. You're looking forward. So now you have more time to do more of what you want because you're showing up for yourself, and it just becomes like a reactive thing.
Second nature.
Second thing to yourself.
So we're excited to see you show up for yourself. We thank you so much for your time today and listening to us. And we hope to see, the results that you all have or anything. It ain't even got to be about, we know we talked a lot about weight loss, but I'm talking about in just showing up. It may be in your career. Yeah. It may be in your relationship. It may be in any realm that you want it to be in. Just think about where you can show up for yourself in a better way. And we thank you so much again for listening to us, and happy relationship building.
Happy relationship building.